As many of you guys know, I like to be prepared for pretty much any situation. Now, inevitably, that means I pretty much carry any gear to tackle whatever job I'm gonna run into on the trail, or if this Jeep just breaks down. Now, I already talked about one major thing I was lacking in one of my previous videos, and a company actually decided to reach out and help. So from now on, instead of carrying one of these tiny air compressors that literally takes forever to be able to pump up a tire of this size, we've got a new solution. And not only that, we've got something else to make it just a little bit easier to show off what makes this Rubicon 392 so cool. Now, before we dive in too deep, we have to do the drawing for the giveaway on the last fit all-weather floor mats. So we're gonna do it right here. And in this bag, I've got every single name of anybody that commented, liked, and was subscribed to the channel. That was the only requirements. But we're gonna do the drawing right now. And the giveaway winner is John London. So I'll reach out to you on Instagram and tell you exactly how to get your all new mats. So in one of my recent videos, I talked about how badly I needed to get a different solution for an air compressor on the Jeep. These little air compressors that you can get from the store just aren't gonna cut it. The tires are simply just too big, and it really puts too much strain on this, even if you have enough time to pump tires up. So Go Big E actually decided to send out their all new off-road portable heavy duty air compressor, and I'm pretty excited to show it to you guys. So of course, first of all, it comes with a nice carry bag, and it was shipped and packaged really well. Aside from that, the first thing you're gonna pull out is your actual air line. So you can see it's actually got a pressure gauge right there built into it, and a quick disconnect right there, and then a connection. And then we've got what we really need, which is gonna be for our tires. So obviously you just screw that in, and it makes it extremely simple to use. Now, the best part about this setup is, like I said, it's heavy duty. Now, this is rated for some pretty impressive speeds for pumping stuff up. It's honestly insane. You can tell just how heavy and robust this is actually set up. Now, it's got an off and on switch right there, and it also has a circuit breaker, press to reset button as well. And that's pretty much all the controls that you're gonna see on this. Something neat about this is it actually hooks up to your actual battery. So you're not using the standard 12-volt outlet like you would on most of the other ones. You literally hook it up to your battery, and that's why it's able to pull so much more power. Now, the max pressure on this air compressor is actually 150 PSI, so that's pretty stout for something this small of a package. And it's also rated at 45 amps. So let's go ahead and get it set up. So like I said, you've got a quick disconnect, and you can literally just attach it right there. And then for the piece that we need to actually pump up the tires, you simply just screw that in. And just like that, you're good to go. Now, like I said, you do need to connect this to your actual battery, and you want to make sure that your vehicle is actually running for that. So we're going to go ahead and start the Jeep. But before we do that, I'm going to let some of the air out of one of these tires. That way we can see just how quick this thing can actually pump them up. So I usually run all my tires at about 32 PSI for the street. So we're gonna take these down to about 15 PSI, which is pretty regular, maybe 12 PSI for off-road use. And we're gonna see just how fast we can pump it up. So I've taken it down to right at about 12 PSI. Now, like I said, for this, we are gonna have to open up the hood and actually connect this air compressor to the actual battery terminals. So all we have to do is pop this open. And as we all know with the Jeeps, they don't have any actual struts to hold up the hood. So you've got to push up this heavy hood and find this little prop, and you've got to use the prop to hold it up. But I've actually got something today that can alleviate that issue and make it to where we can just open up the hood and release and not worry about it. So the easiest way to fix that problem is using some actual hood struts for the Jeep Wrangler. Now, these are made by a company called Caduc J. I'm not exactly sure how to pronounce it, but the link will be attached down in the description below. But I'm gonna go ahead and install these to make sure they'll actually work on the Rubicon 392. Because of that Hydro Guide system, I'm not exactly sure if they will actually match up. Now, one of the best parts about this specific company is they have a lot of different options for these struts. So I actually got the black carbon fiber ones for this, and I think that's gonna look really good. Aside from that, it comes with all the hardware you need, and it seems like a pretty straightforward install. So we're gonna go ahead and try to line everything up, make sure we can get it to work properly. So to start, it seems simple enough. it looks like we need to remove this and attach the bracket, which is going to hook on right here, and then that's going to be left alone. And then we'll need to come up right here to where it's got this corner piece. We'll need to pull that piece out. Then we'll have to use this tool to actually get the nut up there and behind where we need to get the prop. So first things first, we're going to go ahead and remove this right here. Boom. Got that out. So now what's supposed to happen is this little piece right here is supposed to go in right there from what I can tell. And you're supposed to use this tool right here to get the bolt on behind it. The nuts are basically just taped onto this end. So we're gonna feed it through right here and hopefully get up behind that bolt. I'm gonna go ahead and bend it where I think it needs to be bent right now. So then when you get that lined up, you can start threading it. And I'm not gonna lie to you guys, without that tool, I don't even think this would be possible. It is pretty difficult to get to, but with that tool, it is possible. It just takes a little bit of time. And now what we need to do is loosen up this back bolt right here. And then this little piece will actually hook over our little piece of metal. And then we will go ahead and attach this right here and use one of these little clips. Push that over it. You'll just need to line this up right here. We may have to open the hood just a bit more, and it should hopefully just pop right on. So as you can see, this is all hooked up and working extremely well. We've got it bolted in right there. Everything's connected nicely. And if we go over to the other side right here, the same place that we would need that strut to be, there's actually a bolt right there. So I'm not sure how this is gonna work. So I went ahead and tried to rig it up every way I knew possible, but it is just not possible on this opposite side with that hydro guide system. So these are really cool products if you don't have the 392. Aside from that, I thought maybe just one would hold it up, but with the 392, with how heavy that hydro guide system and hood is altogether, one simply won't do. One thing it does do is it does make it quite a bit easier to lift up, but that's just about it. Well, to go ahead and move on from that, let's go ahead and hook up this air compressor and see what it does. Now, like I said, I am going to go ahead and start the vehicle. That way we don't drain that battery. At 35 psi. Didn't take too long, and it's a lot faster than the normal air compressors that you just plug into the cigarette out. So all in all, I am really impressed with this air compressor. It is extremely heavy duty, and it seems way faster than the traditional air compressors you just hook up into a cigarette lighter. So on the trails, this is definitely going to come in handy and allow me to air down more often. And aside from that, those struts are really cool, but they just simply won't work on the Rubicon 392. The way that the hydro guide system is set up, it's just not possible. You could cut out a piece of the hydro guide, but it's not worth it to do that. I did actually leave that one strut on the side that it does work on, because it makes that 392 hood so much lighter to open up. But if you have a normal Rubicon, a normal Wrangler in general, you can definitely use those and it would look awesome and work great. One thing to keep in mind with the air compressor is the gauge that comes on it is not a standard gauge for PSI. It has different measurements, so that's something that you will have to get used to. Of course, to double check myself, I used a normal tire pressure gauge, so that always works. But if you know the conversions, then you're just fine. So I guess I found at least one more thing to keep in the Rubicon 392. If you guys haven't already, please like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you think. Let me know what you want to see next. But until then, Godspeed.